Lloyd's Bank, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And to anyone with good credit ratings so far, I highly recommend and suggest that you avoid taking out a loan with Lloyd's Bank, because they've, technically speaking, said that I'm eligible for a hefty amount. I'm not going to say how much, because I don't want to draw nor attract leeches to my life. And I would have to pay well over £16,000 back in total APR, if that's what it's called. In other words, interest. But, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that theft? That is absolutely disgusting and daylight robbery, what you're doing. And I recommend anyone, like I said, with good credit rating out there to boycott all loan companies that offer good loans but demand high interest rates on behalf of the, person that they're loaning in the first place. It's an absolute disgrace what these loan companies are doing. It's try that again. No. It's theft. It is illegal. It is immoral. And I would highly recommend, like I said, anyone with a good conscience not to take any loans out with either Lloyd's Bank or any other banking associate, for that matter, or banking company even. While, it was tempting to actually take them up on the offer, after reading, how much I would have to pay back even, within the space of 7 years, I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm not even taking that risk. Why should I risk losing everything for a good loan, only to pay back well over several £1,000s? That is not right. That's not only right, but it's immoral, like I said. That is theft. Thou shalt not steal, and you are stealing from other people. And I'm not going to tolerate that. And I could think of much better ways to make finance than to take out loans with companies, thus including banking societies. You should be appalled. You should be appalled. As a matter of fact, you should be ashamed of yourselves. How many How many elders, even, in today's society have you actually swindled out of 16 and a half, maybe more, grand? A total of several £1,000s, just over, in interest even, annually, on top of whatever you've loaned them. How many elders in today's society have you actually swindled and cheated out of their money then, for doing this? A few, I would have thought. That is not tolerable. It's not tolerable. I don't understand why people feel the need to, give others loans only to demand ridiculous interest rates. These are nothing more than loan sharks after people's blood. And this is why people lose out on their house that so happen to pay for their mortgage and let's say miss, I don't know, 2 months worth of payment, they lose the house. End of discussion. It's not up for debate. They just take it. Even if the house is worth way much more than what the mortgage is in the first place. Remind me again. I'm not going to buy anyone's bullshit excuse of, oh yes, well, we are a business, we have to make profit. Yeah, you know, I can work with that to some degree. There's making profit legally, and there's technically stealing from others in order to make that profit. That is greed. It is gluttony. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And this is why now, like I said, I refuse your loan offer that you granted me. I'm not going to fall, you know, victim into that scheme of having everything taken away from me, or because, let's say, I missed a month's payment or something daft like that. No, get out of here with that shit, man. Until banking societies come up with ways to make their profits morally, and not from illegal activities, maybe, just maybe, I might be interested in taking your loan offer up. In the meantime, I refuse point blank period to accept it. It is what it is. And I recommend anyone out there with any banking societies, like I said, to do the same. Boycott the living hell out of these banking societies to remind them that what they are doing is wrong. It is irrelevant. It is corrupting. It's corrupting. It is corrupting. And it's technically theft, you know. Thou shalt not steal. And they are stealing unnecessary amounts of cash as an interest rate on top of whatever said loan they offer in the first place. How is that fair? It's not. Like I said, I'm one for people that are wanting to make profit. But if you're stealing cash that does not belong to you, that I'm not going to tolerate. It's an absolute disgrace what you're doing. All banking societies, like I said even, and any other loan companies that are advertised on TV that offer even higher interest rates of over 1,000%. Disgraceful. Absolutely appalling. Shocking. And is there any wonder, like I said, why so many people have gone into liquidation? Because you've technically shafted them. You've bent them over and you've shafted them from money that does not even belong to you in the first place, due to greed. That is unacceptable. And a new law should have to be changed, or it should have to be amended at least, to gain the public's trust back when offering them loans. Because I'm telling any of you now watching this video, anyone within their right frame of mind, are not going to take up a good loan offer only to pay, like I said, over several £1,000s or however much it is a year on top of what they were loaned in the first place. Sort yourselves out, Lloyds. And to any other banking society out there, sort yourself out. And I want you to reflect on this video message. Because what you're doing, like I said, is wrong. It is theft. And according to the biblical manuscripts, within the Ten Commandments, it clearly says, thou shalt not steal. And what are you doing? You are stealing finance that does not belong to you. Finance, as a matter of fact, that could well have been used to support families. To put food on the table for families. To pay bills for families. To pay for like-minded individuals with a good brain on the head, for an education system for future generations of your own, i.e. offspring. It absolutely appalls me, man. This system, it appalls me to my core. How banking societies treat their customers. Or better yet, how all loan advertisements on TV treat their customers also. With their well over 1,000% annual interest rate on top of whatever they loan. It's an absolute disgrace, man. It's a disgrace, like I said. And is there any wonder why, like, many people are falling into liquidation, and many people are pushed over the edge to doing things without thinking rationally, that could only, cause grief and problems and only God knows what else to those that they love around them. Shocking. As a matter of fact, it's beyond shocking. It's twisted. It's evil. And there we have it. I thought I'd get this rant out there in order to save people from, like I said, wasting unnecessary amounts of money on tax rates upon their loan offers. Don't do it to yourself, man. While the temptation is there, with an interest rate of 29 or whatever percent, only to pay ridiculous amounts over the years, don't do it to yourself. Avoid that temptation at all costs. I'm one for taking risks, sure, but even I'm not going to take that risk, only to lose everything in return. It's a no deal. No deal at all. And like I said, I recommend anybody else to follow the same mindset. Some risks are worth taking. Because behind every risk, there is also sacrifice. You got to weigh up the pros and cons behind the risk. Like, is the risk worth it? Is it actually worth my time, my resource, along with my attention? Is it absolutely worth it? Like I said, I'm forever taking risks, man. But some risks, like, this one, involving Lloyd's Bank, nah, man. Nope, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that risk. If I was a multi-millionaire, then sure. I wouldn't. But then again, I wouldn't even need to take that risk in the first place. If I was a multi-millionaire, so. Because I'd have more than enough money to live 20 lifetimes, really. Always weigh up the pros and cons, people, behind the risk that you're about to take or you're thinking on taking, because I'm telling you now, behind the risks that you take in life, there is either immeasurable amounts of pain and suffering along with sacrifice, or there's complete and utter failure. Always think ahead of the game. Think outside of the box, think ahead of the game, and plan smart, think smart. And you'll save yourself, like I said, from falling into these traps of, the loan sharks, as I'd like to call them, of today's society. That's all they are, technically speaking. They're after people's blood. And it's an absolute disgrace on how, we're treated on a whole. So to anyone watching this video for the last and final time, if you're offered a loan from your banking society and they are asking for ridiculous amounts of revenue for interest repayments on top of said loan, avoid that trap. Because trust me, if you give in to that temptation, you are fundamentally effed. I'm not going to say the word this time, but you know where I'm going with it. You are fundamentally effed. You'll have nothing in the long run. And is that a risk that you're willing to take? I know it's a risk that I'm not willing to take. And there we have it, folks. You live and you learn.